Welcome back to the Fan Speak Network and a very exciting rookie series that we are doing now that official best ball summer is here. BBM 6 and many other contests have dropped on Underdog, and it is time to talk about these rookies and which ones we should be targeting. So these are the rookies that we are actively going to be targeting in BBM and obviously this best ball season now and probably for the foreseeable future unless their price gets out of control. And this one is going to be a fun conversation because we're talking about rookie running back RJ Harvey, who landed definitely higher than we expected in the second round to the awesome, like the landing spot that we all wanted a great rookie to go to, and that's the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton. So Steve, tell me RJ Harvey's strengths, why we're targeting RJ Harvey this best ball season, and again, why he should be an early and often target.
Yeah, so RJ Harvey, actually a high school quarterback, started his college career as a quarterback, and that didn't go too well because he's under 5'9". But what he can do well is being an excellent running back. He went to UCF, transferred to UCF, dominated these past 2 years. One of the most productive backs in the country. Explosive plays galore. He can hit the home run from pretty much anywhere. He makes people miss. He's not easy to bring down. And while he needs to work a little bit more as a pass catcher, he has the profile of a pass catching running back to be that complete guy. And from a size standpoint, you see some like Alvin Kamara. I mean, a little smaller, little different body type. But Sean Payton did very well with Alvin Kamara, and he's done well with smaller pass catching running backs in the past. Darren Sproles being another one who's even much more than Harvey. Harvey has the size to handle pretty good workload, and could be a complete back. And this is exactly that joke. Sean Payton talks about the Joker role, and Harvey can fit that, where he can just hit those home runs, those big plays. From anywhere in the field, and just adds an element that this offense was missing last year in what is a very good young offense led by Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos offense. So yes, that is why it was considered one of the top landing spots, given Sean Payton's history with running backs, where they've typically finished, where his offenses typically finish.
Yeah.
And just the whole, the passing game is pretty well set with a young quarterback, a ton of weapons, and a really good offensive line. So now you just add in that running back element, and this offense could, not only be top 10. I mean, we could be looking at a top 5 offense, and that's kind of the upside we're looking at here.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, they exceeded expectations last year. Like you said, all the other pieces are there. And it really was, no offense to, Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin and everything, but they were just missing that running back piece. So that's why we thought it was going to be a first round, but we knew it was going to be an early round pick. It certainly was with the second round pick. It sounds like from all Coach Speak Index quotes from Sean Payton that they identified this. And that's why they went, I think, defense with their first pick. They identified Harvey as their guy, that he basically said something along the lines of, he like targeted him, watched him, and it was like just a joy to watch him. So there was a lot of love coming from Sean Payton and watching RJ Harvey, and it was clearly pinned as his guy. So, I think that has the potential to, be, like you said, that potential workhorse back. I'm not saying some of the other running backs won't get mixed in some, but he has that potential to get the workhorse back. And you feel like he can kind of perform in all phases of the game, goal line, in between the tackles, the scheme, in the passing game. You really see it all there for Harvey with the Broncos.
Yeah, I do. And look, they might give some goal line carries to a guy like Estime, but I think Harvey, unlike maybe some other smaller backs in this draft, Harvey's compact enough. He's basically the same height as Genty, not totally compact as Genty, but he's got the ability to handle 250 plus carries, 80 targets. I think that is well within his wheelhouse. And, we saw this with Kamara. Kamara has been a touchdown team back earlier in his career under Sean Payton. Kamara's best fantasy year, that 21 touchdown year, whatever it was a couple years ago with Sean Payton. So, yeah, I don't think there's any issues in Harvey's game that should be considered holding him back from being just a fantasy stud and a key member of the Broncos, like I said, potentially top 5 offense.
Yeah, and that's a good point about this is an offense we want to target. Now this is the piece they
Yeah.
needed. And so I think that's an excellent point. Now, if you're drafting, this week, meaning the first week of BBM or the contest on Underdog, Harvey's price is wide ranging.
Yeah.
If you're on different discords or in watching different shows, you'll hear people talk about seeing him as high in the 30s to grabbing him as late as like the 80s or 90s. Honestly, we land somewhere in the middle. I think right now we are targeting them around that 60,
Mhm.
mark, right? Give or take.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fair. Look, I'm not going to fault anyone for taking them a little higher if that's who you really want, especially if you're looking to build out like a full Broncos stack or something like that. But yeah, because I think a lot of the running backs in this range are we're going to see a little variation.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, listen, and maybe Henderson gets the full workload, but he's already gotten, steamed up as well. His
mhm.
ADP's already getting steamed up to 55. Then you got Chuba, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, who we love. Then you got guys, some guys that need to fall, like a Najee Harris, or farther
Mhm.
down Tyrone Tracy. I know there's one or two in there. Then he probably needs to go right around guys like
Yeah.
Kamara, David Montgomery, James Conner. So that's why when looking at these current ADPs, and this is very current, and ADPs are just so fluid right now. But when you look at this, it's like this is the range outside of letting Najee Harris fall where he does need to fit in. Yes, if you're Quinshon Junkins, he has some definitely a path in this area. Henderson, if we feel like he could get a full workload, has a path. I like the other running backs in this area, like Hubbard, Walker, Kamara, Montgomery, Connor. And then, again, we're going to talk about Caleb Johnson as well. Like this is just a kind of a sweet spot running back range. And we think he should land somewhere in the 60s. So if you're in drafts this week and you catch him in the 60s, I certainly think he is one to grab. Any other thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah. I mean, he is a guy, like I said, I think he lands right in this area. And if you want to take him a few spots higher in the
Yeah.
late 50s, I think it makes perfect sense. I don't fault anyone for going up as high as 55 range with them.
Well, yeah, because you and I basically both said like, yeah, we're gonna try to if we are in drafts and see him in the early 60s, we want to grab him. But we wouldn't be surprised if he actually, when all prices settle, lands in like the 55,
Mhm.
50 to 60 range, even competing with like Mixon, Henderson, Chuba, that would not surprise me. And I think we would be fine with that. We're trying to kind of, not overreact, but still like get shares. And we do think he could settle in that 50 to 60 range. So obviously that's why we're open to taking him earlier. Any other thoughts on that? Because this is one of the widest range of outcomes
Yeah.
currently the first week.
No, it's definitely one of the widest range because we will have to see, like, there could be, as the offseason and camp and all that goes underway. I don't think McLaughlin's a big threat to him, but Estimate could be, just from a
Mhm.
body type standpoint, like Estimate could be the hammer and, Harvey does everything else. So if he doesn't get the goal line work, then that would be a little ding to him. But
Sure.
overall, I think 60 is a good kind of like baseline. And if you want to take him, 5 to 6 picks higher, 5 to 6 picks later, I think that's where you're at.
Right. Yeah. Basically, don't take them in the 30s and 40s like some people are. That we're hearing that some drafts are seeing that. If you're seeing them in the 70s or 80s, definitely grab them because you're
Scoop
getting
'em. Yeah.
mass scoop them. Yeah, scoop them up. But yeah, we're gonna be taking them definitely in the 60s and are open to even like you said the mid 50s or think that could see the case for him going in the 50s or 60s. Any other final thoughts for RJ Harvey and just the excitement of him with the Broncos landing spot.
Yeah, so truly, and I think that highlighted pretty well. I think comparing him to Trayvon Henderson makes a lot of sense. They're both day
Mhm.
two draft capital,
Mhm.
both kind of similar, not your clear full-time running backs. From their size standpoint and their game, they both have some strengths and weaknesses in between there. I think Harvey has the better clear landing spot
Mhm.
with Denver, just probably much better offense. Honestly, far less competition. We'll see what New England does with Ramondre and Gibson, but those are actually like running backs who've succeeded at the NFL level, unlike guys like Estime and McLaughlin. So Harvey has the much clearer path forward. So whatever we end up ranking them, Harvey will be ahead for me. But I understand, like that's kind of the decision point between those two rookies. I get slightly into Harvey.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and obviously day 2 had Junkins as well. But again, Cleveland offense, they did add Sampson as well. And then we just like the Denver offense better. So again, our rankings will be coming out later this week. And we'll keep them fluid. So we're trying to get exposures because we like a lot of these guys. Honestly, these rookies, Caleb Johnson in this range, Trayvon Henderson, Quinshon Junkins, Caleb Johnson, and RJ Harvey in this range that are all going that similar range. Like I said, I think my final thoughts are, I think this range of running backs that includes some veterans and some rookies is really a sweet spot to target for running backs. And it could be any type of build, whether you're going a little more robust or 0 RB and you start there or something like that. This is definitely a range to attack for sure. So yeah, this has been fun, Steve. We are going to continue to do this. So every day we'll have more of these rookie targets for best ball that we're going to be putting out. And we're going to have a series of 10 here. And then we're going to do rookie shows breaking down each position. So we got tons of great content coming on the FanSpeak Network. Of course, these shows, live drafts, shorts, and tons more fun stuff coming. So be sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, like this episode on the way out. We appreciate you. For Steve, I'm Meg, and we will see you next time.